to make a video on why I haven't been posting about this car. It's been, I think it's been 7 or 8 months since I posted a video last. And it had a little drama with the car that I wasn't expecting. And more drama than I've ever had on a vehicle, and unfortunately it took a long time and I lost a lot of motivation. But I just wanted to give the rundown of why I haven't been posting and doing a lot of work, and why this car isn't done yet. It should have been done a long time ago. So the car got pretty close to driving, and I asked my wife to go get the registration for it. And to give a little backstory for the title is, as I think I mentioned in the first video, is I purchased it from a family that had recently lost a loved one, and it was his car. And the title wasn't in his name, it was in the previous owner's name of who he bought it from. He bought it from another gentleman in Oklahoma, and apparently I later found out that he purchased it on eBay, which is kind of an interesting thing since I do a lot of work on eBay as well. But normally most people would say, hey, don't buy a vehicle, or don't buy a vehicle if the title isn't in the person's name. And I know that, and I understand that. But I have purchased vehicles before in the past when the name of the person on the title wasn't the same as the name on the name of the seller. But in this case, since I mentioned the gentleman had passed away, and I assumed that he never got registered in his name because the car was never drivable when he got it. And so I wasn't too worried about it. The family that I bought it from was a super nice family, and they actually ended up helping me a lot on trying to get the title figured out. But what had happened is when my wife went to register it, the title wasn't notarized. This was an Oklahoma title, and this is something that we had never dealt with before. If it was a Colorado title, as long as there's a signature on the title, that's all that Colorado cares about. So with the Oklahoma title, which we later learned, is that anytime that Oklahoma sells someone in Oklahoma sells a vehicle, the title has to be notarized. The seller's signature has to be notarized, basically proving that the seller actually signed the title. Well, and that's not the case in Colorado. Well, and I wasn't worried about the title because there was a good signature on it. Well, unfortunately, the DMV cared about it. They immediately said, no, we can't do anything with this title, and it turned into a big headache. So basically they wouldn't let us register the car, and they said that this title has to be notarized. We ended up actually tracking down the gentleman that had sold the car to the family, the gentleman that I got the car from, and I was hoping that he was going to help me. And to put it nicely, he was not a very nice person. And it ended up getting kind of hairy there and a little bit worrisome, because technically the car was still in his name. Since the title never transferred out of his name, he could easily go to the Oklahoma DMV and get a duplicate title, and now the car is his. And he could say that he lost the other title. Obviously we could take it to court and it could get an ugly battle, but I had all the bill of sales, and I had all the documentation of me purchasing it, as well as all the documentation of the other family that had purchased the car from the guy in Oklahoma. So, but we were worried that it could still get hairy since this guy wasn't very nice about it. And then I had also heard stories that when he sold the car originally on eBay, he kind of duped the guy that I had purchased the car from, because he had listed the car and advertised the car as being in super good shape and didn't need much work, but it ended up needing, lots of work, and it was not in the shape that it was supposed to be in. So it was recommended to me by an attorney to remove all my videos. So just in case the guy in Oklahoma somehow found my videos and realized that the car was probably nearly done, and just so he wouldn't cause a stink about it, I had to remove all my videos. I had to put all my social media on private, and just so he didn't know that the car was done, couldn't do that research. Unfortunately, I was trying to make it as easy as possible for the guy to just notarize the title, but he decided that he was not going to notarize it. He thought that I was being nefarious in all my actions, even though I had given him all of the bill of sales from when he sold the car and then when I had purchased the car. That still wasn't good enough for him. For some reason, he thought I was doing something nefarious, but I wasn't. So I stopped dealing with him. I stopped talking to him. Removed all my videos from YouTube and also all my social media platforms. I had to put them on private so he could not view them. And just in case, just because I didn't want him to be a turd about it and then turn around and take me to court about it or something and say, oh, I never actually sold the car, and then try to take the car back away from me. I don't think that would have ever happened. I think it would have been an ugly court battle, probably. Thankfully, that did not happen. Thankfully, we were able to find a company in Oklahoma that deals with this kind of thing, and since we had all the proof and verification that we did purchase the car and we do legally own the car, and we had the title that was just not notarized, we found a company that does court-ordered titles, that takes the case before a judge, and basically plead the case for the judge, or before the judge in our defense, and the judge was able to say, yeah, give the title to them. We did have to get an Oklahoma registration and pay sales tax in Oklahoma, and we got an Oklahoma license plate and title, so the car was ours. Great news. This took months and months and months. Huge battle. Lots of money to the company that did the work for us. She was very helpful. We appreciate her, and I was more than willing to pay the money and get that done because I needed the car. I'd already spent a lot of money on this car. My mistake. I should have got the title worked out before I'd done all the work on the car and spent a bunch of money on it. A lesson learned the hard way. I will never do that again with a title. I'll make sure before I put a bunch of money into a car that I will have the title in my name before I proceed forward. After we got the Oklahoma title, we were able to go to Colorado and transfer it into our name. Unfortunately, Colorado, for some reason, decided to be a turd about it too, and they charge us sales tax as well. So not only were we charged sales tax for the vehicle in Oklahoma, but we were also charged sales tax here in Colorado, which was a major bummer. It was basically just a ton more money that we had to pay. This was by far the most expensive registration and title that I have ever purchased for a vehicle, which is really disappointing because I would have rather put that money into the car instead of just on title work and registration. Major bummer. But this is a huge deal. We have a good Colorado title. Actually in my wife's name, it's not in my name, but just because she was doing all the work and all the paperwork for it, and I appreciate all the hard work that she did for it. But good, clean Colorado title. The car is finally officially in my name, and my wife's name. We own it, and it is now drivable. The car is very, very close to being roadworthy. There is a few things that I need to button up. I just got finished buffing and wet sanding and buffing all the paint, and it is looking amazing. It is beautiful. It came out really well. But unfortunately, I'm really behind. I was hoping to have this car done a lot longer ago. But unfortunately, when this all went down, I completely shut down on the car. I stopped working on it. I lost all my motivation just because I was worried that the car was going to get taken away from me. That was a long shot, but I was still being kind of pessimistic about it, and I was worried that it was going to go bad and I was going to lose the car that I had worked so hard for. So I stopped doing videos and I stopped working on it completely. I did start working on it recently when I kind of knew that the title was working out and most likely we were going to get a title. So I have been working on it a little bit more. The interior is done. It is drivable. I've driven around. Oh, cat, no! Oh my gosh! Stinking cat just scratched up the paint. That was really nice. I've heard to do that. So minor interruption. I'll have to buff that back out, and normally the car is covered in blankets to where she doesn't scratch it up. So that was really aggravating during the video. But I'm gonna get back on the car, working on it, probably making more videos. I do have some more videos to post and make from before this happened, and so hopefully be on the road soon with this car. There is some things that I want to get on video. I really want to do the center console because I'm going to build a custom center console for the car. So I'll probably video a lot of that. And then there's a few things underneath that I got to take care of and just kind of go through it to make sure that it is roadworthy. There's a few things that I just want to check basically. But should have this car running soon and driving very well, and should be a good time. But anyway, that's the update. I guess the moral of the story is make sure that you can title a car before you spend a ton of money on it and do a bunch of work on it. Dang cat. But anyway, that's it.